and welcome back to the Scrappy Leaders Podcast. My name is Christy, and I am your host. This week, I have a very exciting guest for us. It is a woman who I had the opportunity to meet during the Digital Course Academy, which is hosted by Amy Porterfield. Shout out to Team Porterfield. During that course, they encouraged us to reach out to other students and set up accountability pods. And I was intrigued, and I did it. I did exactly as I was told, and I met this woman. And while our tenure is short, her impact has been profound. She is my accountability partner, and we continue to be accountability partners. And she inspires me. Welcome, Elif. We are so happy to have you here on the Scrappy Leader Podcast.
Hi, Christy. I am so excited.
I am too. I'm excited because you and I have had not necessarily the longest history together, but we definitely have had some very fun discussions around kind of creating our dreams and our visions for the future together. So, as I mentioned, we met in Amy Porterfield's Digital Course Academy, and we just randomly signed up to be accountability partners, and it has stuck. So, and I'm so thankful for that. But let's get us kicked off, Elif. Talk to us about your leadership journey. I know you have got a very interesting journey, so I want to hear a little bit about how you became the leader you are today.
It is a long journey. I am an engineer by education and also by experience for so long, for over 3 decades. And I will say for the first 15 years, I really concentrated on the technical part to really doing the best I can as an engineer. And then once I started moving into the leadership positions, first I was aggravated with all the things that I had to do that had nothing to do with technical, with nothing to do with engineering. And I'm like, why am I spending my time with these issues?
You went from dealing with black and white issues to really gray.
Right. And I thought it was just crazy. And then I started having an appreciation, actually being a leader, sitting in that seat no longer meant that I was a doer. I was actually, the expectations from me were very different. So what got me to that seat was no longer going to get me any further. So that was the first time I started, okay, there is more to this. There is the softer side of this. So this is really what got me interested in the science or the psychology, if you will, of leadership.
Yes. And I know that you and I have talked a lot about kind of looking at the masculine versus feminine energy that's involved in leadership. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. And masculine and feminine energies, and I am going to say that they are not gender specific. All of us, we do have both masculine and feminine energies. And mostly masculine energies are associated with being decisive and, making swift decisions, strategic thinking, and direct communication, and driving for results. It's just that it is the perfect hustle culture, right? And then the feminine energy is the intuitive understanding of the team dynamics of people, more collaborative approach, and being an empathetic listener, and having an emotional awareness, having a self-awareness and relational awareness. And it focuses more on relationship building and creating a psychologically safe environment. And you need a balance of both. And that is not always 50-50 either. Depending on the situation, you are going to, it's a scale, right? It is you can shift from one side to the other. And for so long, I thought I really had to live in my masculine energy. I mean, partly it was due to the times, what the leadership was and workplace was, and
Hmm.
partly also being a female in this very male dominated field and taken seriously and be successful. I thought I had to lean much harder into my masculine energy. And now I know better and I advocate for better.
That's wonderful. So what was it like? Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like being a woman in this very masculine or very male dominated field that you're working in and then becoming a leader? And I just have to say, kudos to you for recognizing that what got you to that leadership, the skill set that got you to the leadership seat is not the skill set that you needed in the leadership seat. So many of us don't fully understand that. So kudos to you for, the self-awareness on that one.
Yeah, what I guess being in engineering school, you are usually one of a handful women in the
Hmm.
class. And then in graduate school, I was, one in my area. And then at work, you are going to be one, usually the only one in the room as a female.
Yeah.
So it is very easy to wanna be like the guys and wanna compete with the guys. And I felt like I could not show any weakness
Hmm.
or any femininity that will be either taken as weakness or out of context. And so
True.
there is a fine line that you are walking. And they are many, many times you are not going to be invited to fishing trips, golfing trips for many, many reasons. So your networking looks very different than it is for the guys. Let's face it, this industry, engineering, construction, is mainly men. 90%
Hmm.
of the people are males. And as a female, you really need to find your um, fit without losing yourself, without losing your
So important.
femininity, without
So
what
important.
you are bringing to the table.
Yes.
And it is harder when you are also younger, because when you are in your 20s, you don't know yourself as well as you do much later on in life. So it is
True.
even harder when you are young.
So do you feel like it's changed much, or do you feel like that male domination is still in existence today?
The numbers haven't changed as much as I will have liked. When we are just looking at the numbers are not telling a great story. But I think in the workplace, I am definitely seeing changes. I think
Beautiful.
overall, outside this industry as well, there is a much better understanding of holistic leadership, where women fit and what those qualities bring to the table and as well as to the bottom line of companies, right? And I think with that, there is a shift. And I'm also seeing much more aware leaders of
Hmm.
organizations in my industry as well, that they are wanting to do better for the right reasons. Yes, of course, we are all in business. We want to improve our bottom line, but they are also seeing the value of really embracing a more holistic leadership and opening room for
Hmm.
women um, around the table, and for also helping their male employees and leaders see the benefits of also embracing their own emotional maturity, if you will.
I love that. And all of this experience, that's really what has kind of inspired your vision for the future. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I'm very excited for you to get into this.
Yes. Actually, few years ago, when I was really looking at my next step, I had one exciting opportunity come, and that will have been my dream, probably, job to finish, I would say, the last chapter of my career. And I realized that I really was not as excited as I thought I would be. And that made me really do a lot of soul searching. And then I got into, okay, taking a stock of what am I loving about what I have done so far. Don't get me wrong, I really truly enjoy doing the engineering, and that is great. But at my, where I am, that is not what excites me the most anymore. What excites me is really seeing the spark in the younger generation, seeing the gifts that they have and where they can go and how they can develop themselves. That has been really, especially for the last 10, I will say 10, 15 years, almost like my passion. And so I decided to lean into that. And coupled with that, there is a critical shortage of what we call ready now leaders who can balance the technical and the people leadership. And this industry is full of brilliant people, technically. Clearly, these are smart people, these are hardworking people. And however, what is missing is the ready now part to become the leader. Again, when you take someone from the technical expertise area and drop them in leading people, they are not aware of what skills that they should be leading. So I really, and also we are seeing another point is the unprecedented generational shift with different workplace expectations. What was flying when I came to workplace is no longer the
It's
case.
changed a
And
lot, yes.
right, this younger generation has much different expectations. However, we still need the business going, right? So the traditional leadership styles, they are clashing with the needs of younger and diverse workforce. So, and sometimes the organizations also rightfully are lacking the bandwidth, the resources, time, or the knowledge to develop the emotional intelligence in the technical leaders. So this is what I really wanted to add to the industry.
That's really exciting. So talk to us about what your vision is and how you're going to bring this to fruition.
My vision is to help both what I call the emerging leaders. These are the young professionals in the industry, as well as the seasoned executives, because their needs are a little bit different, but they both have needs, right? Let's take the emerging leaders. So the earlier we can capture them and transform, and not only transform, but add to their technical expertise, also capabilities that will make them influential leaders as early as possible in their career. It is better for them personally. It is better for the people around them they work with, as well as the people that they lead and the companies, right? And so I want them to start developing emotional intelligence skills early, alongside with their technical skills as early as possible. These are the things that we do not learn in engineering school. Not at all.
You
I
don't?
wish we did.
They don't go through some psychology classes in the engineering curriculum?
No. Nothing soft. Nothing.
So what you're saying is you want to see people, or as early in their careers as possible, start developing that EQ, if you will, emotional intelligence, and EQ is kind of shorthand for emotional intelligence. Start developing that. And I love that you're talking about creating influential leaders, because there's leaders that are leaders because they hold the position. And then there's influential leaders that are leaders because of the influence power that they have. And that helps people from any seat, whether it's the lowest seat on the, the hierarchy of the organizational chart, or if it's from, a middle seat, but from any seat at all, it allows people to really act on that, which I love. Um, and I totally forgot the point that I was going to make right there. So I'm going to let you take over.
Yeah, actually, you really brought up a great point, the emotional intelligence, because especially people who are engineers, construction, in construction, architects, these are bright people, right?
Yes. Oh,
No
they're
doubt
very smart. Mhm.
right, they are smart. They have the cognitive intelligence, what we call IQ.
Yeah.
And the emotional intelligence is a little bit different than IQ. Our IQ and our personality, when I say our personality, for example, are we introverted? Are we extroverted? Those types of things are ingrained. Those are in our DNA and they don't change over our lifetime, right? However, the good news is with emotional intelligence or EQ that you will see, it is a skill and it can be developed and anybody can develop it and you
Mhm.
can improve it. That is, I think, the silver lining. That is one thing that we have control over and we can do something about it. And it will actually make us better people, better leaders, better business people. That is the good news that we
All
need
the
to
way
lean into.
better in relationships, better parents,
Absolutely.
better friends, better siblings, all of that.
Absolutely. And
And it also
even,
will help. It'll even help with networking because you
that's
called
right.
out that networking has been difficult in the past because men would go off and do their golf, fish type of thing, and women would be left out. But that also would help in creating networks within your peers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for example, also it helps the seasoned executives. A lot of the seasoned executives, right? And sometimes it's harder for them to learn new skills. And I'm not talking about the technical skills. I'm talking about adopting their leadership styles. And because sometimes it's muscle memory. It has been
It
ingrained
is.
in us, right? But if you really approach it from emotional intelligence, it is amazing to see how fast that shift is happening. And it also leaves a lasting change. A lot of the help sometimes they are looking at it behaviorally. They will say, stop doing this, start doing that. Well, that kind of works with motivation only so far, kind of like our New Year's resolutions, right? And after a
Yes.
while, everyone kind of steps back to what we are. However,
Mhm.
if you really show them the why behind it, and then people embrace it. And then they shift from command and control to more collaborative leadership because they also see what it does for them individually. Their
Mhm.
stress level goes down, that they are not as tight, they are not as, and they can make better decisions. So I think it kind of helps everybody individually and
Oh yeah.
organizationally, and definitely with the people that they live around you.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to say that as a people leader myself, not in a male dominated field, but um I have had the sheer joy, and there's no other way for me to describe it other than sheer joy to watch my very high functioning team understand kind of where, they have a safe place to discuss and bring challenges to with me, and watch them go out into the business and make amazing things happen. And so it's almost like, and this is going to sound very egotistical, I get it, but it's almost like cloning myself because these people are going out and doing things that I would love to be able to do technically, but there's only one of me. But they are so equipped and so empowered to be able to go out and do these things themselves. And yeah, it's called very, get so filled with pride to watch them go make these amazing things happen within the organization. So I completely hear what you're saying.
Yeah. I am with you. That is the most exciting part, really. And we talk about these tactical things, right? Delegation, time
Yes.
management. I think we
Hmm.
are really talking about those things very clinically. And all of these things are actually, if you really take it from the point of view of emotional intelligence, uh, there is a different part to it, as you said. When you
Yes.
are looking at it rather than delegating, developing people, looking at their strengths, because they are, I mean, I work with brilliant people who are so much better than I am in many, many things.
Oh, yeah.
And and just letting them letting them bring ideas. It's just, it is so much more powerful than if I, told them do A, B, C, D.
Yes. Yes. It reminds me of that leadership quote, that, and I'm going to butcher it, but it basically, a powerful knows their strengths and weaknesses, and with their weaknesses, they have others around them that carry those weaknesses as their strengths, so that everybody is successful. So I completely hear you on that. I just, I absolutely love this, because I think that the other thing that the other thing that comes to mind with all of this is, you spoke of making things very clinical, time management, that type of thing. My perspective has been for a while now that the reason that those get very, they're good fundamental skills for a leader to have, bar none. But I think part of that, and I would love your thoughts on this, part of that, in my perspective, is that it's very hard to measure what, good strengths look like, and to measure what good leadership looks like, and what EQ is. So we lean on these harder tasks, these harder skills, to try and help develop something that is much more difficult to measure. So would love your thoughts on that.
I think you're making a great point. It is much easier to lean on things that we can clinically measure. And however, there are great strides made in measuring also emotional intelligence, the EQ. So there are a lot of tools out there that they are very, I will say, they are as effective as measuring your IQ. And you can also retest, do these tests periodically, as well as to see how much improvement that you have over
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yes. And so I think a lot of people are not aware of that. A lot of people think that, oh, this is, and even when we call it soft skills, I understand the term, which is the general term. I really love looking at it as human skills, because
Mm,
when we say hard and soft, again, we are putting a line in the sand.
just
Actually,
like
these
masculine
things,
and feminine. Yeah.
that's exactly right,
Yeah.
because your technical skills and or called hard skills, right? Whatever you have on your resume, again, your emotional intelligence is harder to put on your down on your resume.
Oh, yeah.
And it is great. You can put all your experience and certifications and whatnot, your degrees. It's easy. But those things, also your hard skills and soft skills, they also complement and enhance each other, because if you
Mhm.
really have a higher understanding of your soft skills, then you can utilize your hard skills in a much better way. So they
So true.
actually complement each other too. And I think going forward, we are going to see um, more commonplace, I'm hoping, in organizations when they are hiring, to hire really looking for the human skills, soft skills, because some of the hard skills you can teach. And
You can, but it's hard to teach those softer skills.
but they are teachable too, as
They
long as
are.
people are open. And that's and I think that what we call what I will call the cultural fit.
Mm, yes, yes. That's wonderful. So What advice would you have for folks that are in a technical field if they want to develop their EQ to further enhance their technical skills? How would you direct them? What advice would you give them?
I will tell them, first of all, to really invest in their own development. And I understand everyone is very busy, everyone is leading very busy lives. However, when you are early in your career, there is going to be certain level of investment.
Mhm.
And most of the time, organizations and also individuals, technical people, we tend to really concentrate on all this professional development on the technical side. And what is of course, if you need to get your license, like as an engineer,
Yeah.
I'm a professional registered engineer, you need to do it. That's different. However, besides that, put just as much emphasis, if not more, on understanding and improving your soft skills. And the emotional intelligence is really the number one. It starts with your self-awareness, because if you do not have your self-awareness, you are not going to have the relational awareness and social awareness and all those things you need to get to the next level, become a good team leader, project manager, and whatever. So I will say that they can listen. There are a lot of great podcasts like yours, right? And
Thank you.
there are a lot of individuals on LinkedIn um, writing about it. So there is a lot of information out there that they can tap into and spend some time in addition to watching Apple TV and Netflix. So spend some time with those. So take some time, invest in your own development. If you enjoy, books on tape while you're driving, do that. There is so much you can gain from doing these things. And also, people like me and we also have ongoing here and there workshops, right? And digital
Mhm.
courses. Find those, take advantage of those. And I have one coming up by the end of next month. It's going to be mainly for early career people. And it is about leadership skills for rising professionals, specifically in my
Wonderful.
industry. Right. So there are a lot of, and there is a free download on my website that people can
Wonderful.
actually go do that with some little quick tips and tricks, and also reach out to others for mentoring. That's also very important. Don't feel bashful. And
And I think that's so important that you say that, because most of us that have gone further in our careers are so happy to mentor those of you that are coming behind
exactly.
us. And I know that every message I get, I personally answer, and I have many mentors or mentees, I guess I should say, that I keep track of and coach and still stay connected with after years of just connecting with them earlier in my career. And I'm sure you're the same, Elif.
Right, right. So, I mean, mentors are very important, and as a mentor, I get from it as much as the mentee.
Oh,
I do
definitely.
believe.
I agree. I agree. So you said that it sounds like by the end of February, your workshop is going to be available, and you're going to be
Right.
promoting that on LinkedIn, correct?
Yes, yes.
So, okay,
And
and we'll
it's
put
also there's also a waiting list on my website. You can go
okay,
to my website. It is www.elifchiasson, my first name, last name.com. And there is a waiting list. You can get on there and you can go to either places.
perfect. And I will go ahead and make sure that your website and your LinkedIn profile are flagged in our show notes for those of us that don't speak as beautifully as you do and can't spell what you just spoke, myself included. Make her say her last name just so that I can actually listen to her say it. It's just that beautiful. So, Elif, I know that you're a scrappy leader and you've done a lot of really amazing things. Can you tell us when being a scrappy leader may have not served you well, may have presented more challenges than answers?
Uh, This is an interesting take. I think overall, if I look at the math, I think the overall being a scrappy leader has overwhelmingly helped me.
Okay, great.
But yes, there were challenges, and the challenges will have been probably sometimes me not seeing some of the opportunities that were in front of me or on the sides, that I was so busy hustling and that I really did not pay attention to things that I could have or should have paid attention, and maybe pivoted earlier or done different things. I will say, but of course, hindsight is 2020. But I will say to everyone, no matter what you do, always opportunities are going to be available all the time, always. And they're going to be different. And so don't be focused on just trying to make a straight line out of your career. And look at all the meandering and the turns and the beelines as an opportunity, because I did that in the beginning. I thought it was, okay, I'm going to do this, and everything is going to be in this order. No, actually, life didn't unfold like that. And the beauty is probably, I mean, it would have been, now looking back, it will have been very boring
It would
if
have.
it did.
Yep. I think some of my best experiences have been those loop-de-loos and meandering that have happened over the course of time.
Right.
Taking leaps of faith, making mistakes, and yeah, I
That's
love that.
exactly right.
I love that. So, well, as we get close to our conclusion, I do want to get from you kind of what your advice would be if you had to kind of look back upon your career and everything that you've done. What advice would you give to other scrappy leaders?
I will say, number one, technical excellence alone doesn't create exceptional leaders. Just know that. And the second, don't view soft skills as secondary to your technical skills. They are equally important and then crucial. And also the third, I will say, lead with authenticity. And from my experience, when leaders, especially from those underrepresented groups, let it be minorities like women or people of color, embrace their unique perspectives rather than trying to fit in a traditional mold like I did, to fit in a bro mold. They create, more innovative and inclusive environments. Just be yourself. You are
So
not only enough, you are more than enough.
I love that. I wish I could capture your face right now. She looked right at me and she said, "You are enough, more than enough." And I think that is the most powerful message to send to all of you today. You are enough. You are more than enough. So, Elif, thank you so very much for joining us today. I sincerely appreciate this. Any parting words?
Just go rock the world. You are more than enough.
I love that. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll talk with all of you again next week. Have a wonderful week.